I'm Dr. Uche, a practicing physician who's been coaching others to write and publish their biographies since 2013. The first autobiographies I brought to publication were for my dad and granddad, and those took more than 5 years and lots of mistakes. On this channel, I will show you the tools I use to perfect the process so that you can have your biography done in 6 months or less without the delays and mistakes. Remember to subscribe and share with your friends. Let's dig in. This is a special video, yes, because I'm doing something I haven't done in a while. What am I talking about? You'll have to wait to see. So join me. Yes, I highlight books on this channel as well. If you followed me a while, you probably already know that. But I highlight books in a meaningful manner. So not just random books, but rather books I have loved, enjoyed, and hopefully that can also contribute towards your journey of writing your biography in some way. It might be an intricate, exciting plot that has a lot to teach as far as constructing a story, or it might be a biography that I think has a nice design others can follow. And I want to highlight two of my favorite autobiographies that I really love, and I highly encourage anyone wanting to write their story to start by reading those, okay? So I will say in a nutshell, I have several that I really like. I happen to have two here, but at the very end, I'll wrap up by sharing sort of a few others that you could read. And again, I've said before, a very important part of writing well is reading a lot, because you learn a lot from people who either write professionally or those who have written many times before, even if they're not professional authors, because we learn how to create a story, how to capture the attention of a reader, and how to sort of make something flow in a way that will be very nice for both you and whoever is reading it to sort of follow. I want to highlight this one. This is Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. I love this story. Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela is one of my very favorite autobiographies. It is a thick, heavy read. It is a lot of his journey to freeing his country from the apartheid government. There's some very hard aspects in this book. At the same time, I like the construction of it. It is chronological. It kind of begins from the very beginning and goes towards the end. So it's a chronological account, and that is something I like about it. It starts, for example, with a country childhood, and it keeps going from a country childhood to Johannesburg, which is actually where he escaped to as a very young adult, escaping a planned or arranged marriage he didn't want. Birth of a freedom fighter, The Struggle is My Life, Treason, The Black Pimpernel, Rivonia Trial, Robben Island. And it's really a chronological story. That is something I like about it. So if you want to write your full chronological story and you want to go one by one, starting from the very beginning, this is one example you can follow. I love how he puts in pictures and sections in the book. I think there are about 1, 2, 3 parts in the middle. This one and this one and here, where he puts in pictures. And this is actually a common style I use when I coach folks to write their biographies. Write the story and then find 2 or 3 places interspaced within the story to put in pictures. So this is Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela, one of my very favorite autobiographies that I highly recommend for people to read who are working on writing their story. National bestseller. This book is very well known. You should be able to get it in whatever part of the world you're in. My second favorite is Becoming by Michelle Obama. This is a heartwarming coming of age story. Okay, that's what I like about this, is it is a coming of age story. this is a tribute to her parents who raised her. Really, you can see, you can feel the love for her parents, for her society, for her background, for friends who impacted her in this story. So this is an example of how one can really highlight blessings in the form of people. She talks a lot about many people who really, really blessed her on her journey. Her mother particularly talks a lot about her mother. It is also a chronological story. It kind of goes from the beginning to the very later years, and so it is again another chronological account for somebody wanting to write that sort of story. Something else I have to say I really love about Michelle Obama's story is she really describes people in detail as far as what makes them tick, why they became how they became, early experiences of various people who were in her life growing up, grandmother, mother, father. She talks about her father's illness and his eventual death. I think she was only in her 20s when her dad passed. She talks about how it was a blow to her. She talks about a very dear friend of hers. They went to Princeton together who died from, I believe, a kind of lymphoma. The girl actually has some Nigerian ancestry, if I'm not mistaken. So she really talks a lot about people. She's a people's person, you can tell from, if you follow her, you know, on social media, on the news, you can tell she's a very personable sort of person. And that aspect of her really comes out in this book. She really pays attention to people. She knows a lot about people. She talks about bringing a certain lady whose name I'm forgetting, introducing her husband to that lady because she had a feeling this woman could be a good mentor to her husband. And turns out they all ended up working together in the government when her husband was elected president. And for some reason, I can't remember the name of that woman I'm thinking about. But there are also pictures, okay, of very important moments. So this is again another example that really, really highlights blessings in the form of people. I don't feel like she particularly writes a lot of negatives. She highlights the positives here more so than negatives, okay? I think she mentions a few things that afforded her a learning opportunity, but she played those down and really highlighted more the blessings, okay? So this is another example. The other ones I like, Chinua Achebe, the titan, the very well-known titan, so-called, of African literature, wrote a book, There Was a Country. That's a very good story. It mostly revolves around his experience during the time of a civil war that happened in Nigeria, 1967 to 70. So that's another good story. I'm trying to remember other good stories. There are several, but those are some examples I would highly recommend to read as you start on your writing journey. There's much to learn as far as a style to follow in writing your story. There's some that are actually more of memoirs, and I will try to highlight them in another video. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.